nothing else matters. My feet in the stirrups, I'm so happy. There's nothing like the sound of Carolina hoofbeats.
We're here in Rayford, North Carolina at the Carolina Horse Park today for the 64th annual running of the Stony Brook Steeple Chase. This is our first visit to a steeplechase race today, so I hope you guys are as excited as I am. With me now is Amy Quick from Hamlet, North Carolina. Amy, I understand you won the hat contest today in Best of Show.
I did. I certainly did.
Tell us a little bit about your hat.
Well, I kind of got inspired. I'd seen a T-shirt that I thought was kind of funny. It kind of brought the fun times, tailgating, so to speak, drinking at Stony Brook. And so it said, about the hats. And also I said, well, I'm going to kind of get the fun drinking theme in for kind of something different. So apparently it worked out okay.
Cool. Can you turn around and let us see the whole thing? Oh, that is awesome. All right. Well, congratulations.
All right,
and thank you for stopping by.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
With me now is Richard Boucher, and Richard was in the second race, and you came in second?
Second, yes.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about steeplechase racing.
We travel up and down the East Coast. It's mainly on a Saturday. It's a fun day out for the family and the people to come watch. It's a different type of horse. It is a thoroughbred. It usually comes from the flat racing circuit that maybe either a little too slow for flat racing or just wants to change a career.
Right.
And the steeplechasing trainers, they get them and teach them how to jump.
So when you're picking a horse to race, what do you like in him?
Athleticism, a nice shoulder. Sometimes you can look at their flat form, where they've been racing, either on the turf or on the dirt. Usually the turf horses from the flat tracks run better, but there are a lot of horses that come from the dirt tracks that will excel steeplechasing.
I noticed that most of the horses that are in the races today are 4-year-olds. Is that right?
There seems to be an influx of younger horses coming, but also there's an influx of younger trainers and younger owners coming in. So the people are looking for a horse that is not too run out on the flat. If they've run a lot of races and they're sort of tired and 6 and 7 years old, then it's hard to really get them steeplechasing.
And do you run all predominantly geldings and mares and not stallions in this?
There's a couple of colts that run, but it can get a little tough on them reaching over a fence with their
intact,
manhood.
Right.
So the geldings are more favorable. Some of the fillies, the one I rode in the second race was a mare. She was only having her second start. We found her in Florida, and she had some good old turf breeding in her pedigree, so we thought we'd give her a try. And she seems like she's improving. She finished second today, and she'll hopefully grow on that and hopefully win before the end of the spring season.
Now, why did you decide to go into steeplechase racing?
Well, I always liked racing as a kid, and from England, I rode a little bit on the flat when I was younger, and then of course the weight gets to you and stuff like that. So steeplechasing, and then we came here, and it's a fun sport to do, and it's not so demanding as the flat racing. Flat racing is like every day, and you're working hard. Steeplechasing is more of a weekend sport, and you have time to do other things as well.
Do you raise any of the horses that you race?
We have not. We've thought about breeding some, but it's a long process, the breeding side. It's 4 years to see if you've got any ability.
Right.
And it's nearly easier to go around the racetracks at Laurel or Delaware, Philadelphia Park, and you can find a nice horse for $5,000 to $10,000 that can come out here and compete and have a bit of fun with.
Right. Oh, they're beautiful animals, and you did
Thank
such a
you.
great job. We were cheering you on.
No,
thank
thank
you
you.
for taking time with me.
Thank you.
All
Nice
right.
talking to you.
Very good. Behind me, you see all of the crowd getting ready for the steeplechase, so you stay tuned and we'll be right back.
If you're interested in a career working with horses, then Martin Community College is the place for you. MCC's Equine Technology program is the only one offered among North Carolina's 58 community colleges. The program is management-oriented with classes in breeding, nutrition, training, riding, equine health, and more. Graduates can leave MCC prepared to work in recreational and racing barns, breed to discipline-oriented farms, or assistant farm management. For more information, contact...
With me now is Ross Garrity, and Ross is based in Maryland, originally from Ireland, and you've been racing today. Tell me how those first two races went.
Yes, the first race I finished third. It was a nice run for the horse. It was his third start over hurdles. He'll improve a lot for today, and we're looking forward to maybe running him in Atlanta in 2 weeks' time.
And in the second race, was there the same horse?
No, different horse, different trainer. He was a horse I'd never ridden before. He ran an Aiken 2 weeks ago and he tipped over the last. He was a little unlucky. He ran a nice race. He made a mistake at the fourth from home, and it just probably cost him. It took some of the momentum out of him and took its toll. He finished fifth in the end. He ran pretty nicely, and hopefully he can step up some other day.
Do you race more today?
I ride in the fourth race. I ride a filly called Bow by Gold for the trainer that won the first race. She won an Aiken 2 weeks ago. She's a gutsy little girl. She takes on five geldings, which are male horses.
Right.
But I think she has she can win it. She's probably the favourite, and we're just hoping
Okay.
can pull it off.
Do you prefer riding fillies over geldings, or is it just based on the horse?
It doesn't really make a difference. I've had a lot of success on fillies in this country. You have to ride them a little bit differently, a little bit more tenderly. Now, that filly, she goes from the front end, but you have to just keep her happy the whole time and have her enjoying it, and it works. But by and large, there's no real difference to them.
And what made you decide to be a steeplechase jockey?
Oh, it's a family business, sort of. It comes down through generations. My two brothers both done it. My three sisters have all done it. It's busy family, and they race in England and Ireland and all over the place, so we're all over the world.
That's awesome. Well, it was really fun watching it today, and good luck in the fourth race.
Super, thank you very much.
Thank you. With me now is Arch Kingsley from Camden, South Carolina, and Arch is a trainer. So tell me a little bit about training a steeplechase horse.
Well, they're older, more mature horses in terms of the race horses that you'll find on the track. They're ages 3 and 4 up, and it takes years to develop a top steeplechase horse. It really is the development of the stamina and the thoroughbred athlete, as well as the speed that it takes to be a successful racehorse. Additionally, toughness and soundness in order to go the distance and to jump the jumps and to come out of it all on Sunday morning still in one piece.
Right. And is there anything special that you look for when you're looking for prospects?
You like to see a horse that is well balanced in their conformation, that they're fairly correct, not overly heavy, muscle bound, or in their bone structure, particularly so in their front end. You don't want to see a horse that's too heavy or too shouldery. You like to see some length and some scope to the horse. Generally those kind of things.
Do you look for horses that have had success on the track, or
ideally, yeah, those are definitely what you want. You'd like to find horses that have shown some kind of form going long on the grass, but they can come from dirt sprints too. Honestly, the old timers would say that you can teach a horse how to go far, but you can't teach him how to run fast.
Right.
So it's easier to stretch them out than it is to give them any speed if God didn't give them any. So
that's a wise saying for sure.
Yeah.
And so you used to be a steeplechase jockey too?
I did, yeah. I was a jockey for 6 or 7 years professionally, and I had a lot of success, or a lot of good days, I should say, here at Stony Brook. I love this meet. I live in Camden, as you said, and it means that I'm only 2 hours from home, and I'll be sleeping in my bed tonight, and I get to come up, and it seems like it's always beautiful weather. The footing's always good. There's an enthusiastic crowd. I love love coming up here.
Now the Steeple Chase is a circuit that you guys race, correct?
Correct.
And where it all does it take place?
It's up and down the East Coast. In the spring, it starts in the south, works its way up to the Mid-Atlantic later in the spring, and in the summertime runs at some of the major racetracks, more sparingly so than we do in the spring and in the fall. And then it resumes in the fall at the hunt meets,
Right.
again in the Mid-Atlantic, and then works down south in the late fall, where it all resumes where it concludes in Camden in November.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for spending some time with me.
You're welcome. Good luck.
I hope you've enjoyed watching the Stony Brook Steeplechase today as much as I have. I've sure learned a lot, and I can hardly wait for the next one. Thanks for watching Carolina Hoofbeats.
My name is Scott Brookins, and I am the owner of Brookins Construction and MD Barn Master of the Carolinas. At MD Barn Master, we have the best warranty in the business. We have a variety of designs to choose from. Our barns are easily customizable to meet your needs. We have financing available to those who qualify. Our barns are fire resistant, and they hold their value with little maintenance. Let us build your dream barn for you today.
Earlier this year, we asked all of our readers and viewers to give us their opinions on different categories. We start this series with the top 5 veterinarians in our state. We'll be featuring those winning veterinarians throughout Season 3 at different times and in no particular order. This week's pick, Lisa Kivett. We're here today in Southern Pines with Lisa Kivett, and as you guys know, she was voted one of the top vets in our state, and Lisa owns Foundation Equine. So tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I graduated veterinary school from North Carolina State University. Following that, I went to Louisiana State University for an internship, and I did a residency in internal medicine at Auburn University. Once I got board certified in internal medicine, I returned to Southern Pines, my home state of North Carolina, practiced for a few years, and opened Foundation Equine 2 years ago.
And Foundation Equine's a mobile vet practice?
Foundation Equine has been a mobile veterinary practice for the last 2 years, and we've just secured this location for a little while. We now have an office, and we have facilities to hospitalize a few horses, and we're very much trying to grow the practice into something that's going to be really impressive in the future.
All right. Well, you had an enormous amount of votes, and a lot of that had to do with a little celebrity called Hope.
Yes,
so
Hope.
Tell us a little bit about Hope.
Sure. Hope was a very unfortunate starvation case. When we found her, she was located at a farm in Laurinburg, North Carolina. That farm called itself a rescue, but unfortunately the owner of the farm was not well, and the horses did not receive adequate care. So when Hope was actually surrendered to animal control, she was placed in a foster home where we very carefully tried to rehabilitate her. She was probably as thin as I've ever seen a horse who was still standing. We had to be very careful with her diet, and in the process of trying to refeed her very carefully, things did not go as we expected, and she most likely suffered from some refeeding syndrome. She then was down and unable to get up. She did not want to give up, and neither did the people involved, including Rachel Medley, who runs Old Glory Legacy Foundation and Sandhills Horse Rescue. And with her help, we were able to move Hope to that location. We were very lucky to have Justin and Tori McLeod, who run the equine ambulance and other services here. They brought the sling. We were able to sling her, keep her up so that the bed sores didn't get too bad. They actually were really bad. And just keep her eating. And the entire time, all we said was that all Hope has to do is not die.
Right.
And she didn't die. So she is fat and happy and healthy, and it's been a very, very long 6 months with a lot of wound care and rehabilitation, but she is going to be absolutely fine now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake a lot of folks make when they find a horse that's been starved, is they try to feed them a bunch of food, and that
Yes.
makes it even worse.
Absolutely. It changes the way that they're, when they haven't eaten for a long period of time, and then you feed them certain feeds, their insulin levels will spike. And the insulin levels then throw off their electrolytes. That will make their heartbeat irregular, make them unable to breathe, and they will actually die from the insulin released from the feed. So you have to go very, very careful with the right kind of food.
Right, so people really should leave that up to the pros that know what they're doing.
They should, or if they're going to rehabilitate a horse that has not had any food in a long period of time, at least seek out people who can provide them with the resources to do it properly.
Right, that sounds good. Good advice. So tell me what else is on the agenda for you for the future?
So there are a lot of plans for the future, namely for Foundation Equine growth. We're hoping to hire a second vet sometime before next year. We're pretty busy, and I'd like to add a person who will bring some services that I don't currently offer. There are other things in the future, including working more with Sandhills Horse Rescue and trying to grow that in a way that we can rescue some more horses. Currently, we can take about 4 at the time. It'd be really nice to get enough community support and donations that we could expand that a little bit.
Right. And so you ride yourself?
I do. I grew up riding hunter jumpers in eastern North Carolina. I then sort of went to dressage for a little while, and then since I moved to Southern Pines, I've been doing mainly eventing. That's what everyone does here.
Right.
And then in the last 6 to 9 months, I've been too busy to ride. So the horses are on a little bit of a hiatus, and when we get a second vet and I can take a little bit more time, I'll climb back on and go back to the shows.
All right.
Hope is a now 3-year-old pony of unknown breeding. Hope was surrendered to animal control from a farm in Laurinburg that called themselves a rescue, but unfortunately had stopped adequately caring for the animals. The time she was surrendered, Hope was a body condition score of 1 out of 9, which is severely emaciated.
Yeah.
She was the skinniest horse that I've ever seen that survived. I've seen them thinner, but they didn't make it. She spent about a week or 2 in a foster home where we were very careful to try to refeed her without causing any damage to her system and shocking her system with food. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, she was so thin and so weak that she ended up collapsing anyway. Once she was down, she was not able to get up. We were fortunate enough to have local resources, including Rachel Medley with Old Glory Legacy Foundation, who had a facility that would be appropriate to house her while she was down. And Justin and Tori McLeod, who run the Horse Ambulance and NC Smart, their specialized transport team for horses who are injured or incapacitated. So they were able to come, and we were able to actually transport her safely while she was down and unable to get up to Old Glory Legacy Foundation, where we then spent several days with her unable to get up. She eventually regained enough strength to stand a little bit. It took several people with special straps to assist her to get up, and she could stay up for a short period of time before she would go back down. As she regained strength, she was able to stay standing, but once she laid down to sleep, she was then unable to get up. So she was unwilling to lay down, knowing that it could be a problem.
Yeah.
So we were able to again use Justin and Tori McLeod, who brought over a sling for Hope. It was too big for her. We ultimately ended up doing a fundraising campaign and securing enough funds to get a custom sling that was more appropriate. And then every couple of days, we would put her in the sling, and she would take a nap. And as soon as we put her in that sling and she felt herself supported, she would immediately begin to go into REM sleep. Her head would fall over, she would dream, her ears would flick, and her nose would go, and she would whinny. And it really rejuvenated her to be able to sleep so she could spend her energy, just getting stronger. So she got a lot of sores from being down on her head, on her withers, on her hips. They're basically pressure sores. And they did become infected. So she had months of antibiotics and intensive wound treatment. We did attempt skin grafts for the withers. A couple of them actually did take, but not enough to really get us where we needed to be. So we ended up doing a bandage for a long time. And, we're basically 6 months out now. The wounds don't really require any care. They're not fully healed over with new skin, but they're healed over enough that they don't bother her. And all we have to do is just clean them every now and then. And she's obviously now 100% normal horse.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So will she be up for adoption, or will she stay here?
So we actually have not determined the future for Hope. We are just getting to know Healthy Hope. We've really just met Healthy Hope in the last month.
Right.
So we need to learn a little bit more about her to know where she fits in this world. She's a lot of things that we didn't expect. She's got more feistiness than we thought. She's maybe smarter than we thought. She seems to really bond with one person or people who are close to her maybe more than we thought. So we just want to make sure we get to know her and what she wants out of life before we make decisions for her as to whether she's going to be a riding horse up for adoption. You know, we just don't know, and fortunately we can take our time in making that decision.
That's really wonderful. Well, you've done an outstanding job, because you guys will see from the pictures, you know, of Hope in the beginning that I really didn't think she'd make it.
It was touch and go. We were really worried.
Yeah, it's good to see healthy Hope. That's for sure.
I'm so happy. There's nothing like the sound of Carolina hoofbeat.
Hello, I'm David King with 5K Arena. This is my wife, Ivy King. We put on sorting, pinnings, and cuttings. I'm going to let my wife talk to you about the type of feed we use from Mule City Feed.
We called Paul up with Mule City Specialty Feeds about 5 years ago. He was absolutely wonderful to work with. We had a need to fill because our commercial feed had just gotten higher and higher, and our feed bill was through the roof. He helped us mix a feed that was exactly what we were looking for. Our horses have stayed fat and shiny, had plenty of energy without losing their minds, and we couldn't be happier.
Hi, my name is Savannah Lindsay, and I'm from the Cumberland County Thunderhoofs 4-H Club. And today I will be talking to you about how to yield your hind and forequarters on your horse on the ground. So your horse's forequarters are right here in the front, his two legs right here, and then his hindquarters are his back legs, okay? And how we do this and why we do this is because it's just another way to gain respect over your horse and to get your horse to use the thinking side of his brain. Okay, and so first we're going to yield our horse's hindquarters. So I'm going to hold my hand at eye level, right in line with his eye, and then I'm going to, for his hindquarters, I'm going to look at his hip and put energy through the stick. And you want to give your horse some slack in his face, because most people tend to yank on the horse's face when they do this, and you're just going to rub him to a stop. You always want to use your training tool to rub him to a stop, because this is what you would be using to correct him if he was doing something wrong. So we have to do the other side now. Make your horse's feet move. Eye level, look at his hip. And rub him to a stop. Now we're going to yield the forequarters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my hand at eye level and my training tool at mid-neck, energy through the stick. And you want your horse's feet to cross, because if they're not crossing, then you have no respect over your horse at all. And that goes the same for the hindquarters too. So you're going to rub them to a stop. Whatever you do on one side, you must do on the other. Okay, whoa. Eye level and mid-neck. Make sure he's crossing those feet. Good boy. And that is how you properly yield your horse's hindquarters and forequarters. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caitlin, and I am part of the Cumberland County 4-H Horse Club Thunderhoofs. Today I will be talking about how to care for your horse's tail. And first step, you want to put your hand up around him so you can get up to the side. And second step, you want to wash it out just to get all the dirt and stuff out, like the manure and stuff. Third step, you want to put some cowboy magic in and put it into the tail. That way you can rub it in as well, so you can get it all through the tail and just rub it through. And you just want to use some of your fingers and or you can use a comb, depending on what horse you're using. Also, you just want to use your fingers as well. Yeah, you would use your fingers a lot to get just all the knots out. And if you leave the knots in for too long, it could cut off their circulation and it could get just bigger and bigger, and it could be just bad. So that's how you care for your horse's tail, and thank you.
Hello, my name is Olivia Jurgens from Cumberland County 4-H Horse Club Thunderhooves, and I'm here today to determine the best way to see how much body fat is on your horse, and that is called the Hennick body scoring system. This is Diamond, and we are going to determine how much body fat is on his body. So, there are 6 key body parts you are going to look at. You're going to look at the neck, the shoulders, the withers, the ribs, the loin, and the tail head. So first we're going to look at his neck, and that has a little bit of fat on it, but that's still good for his age because he's 10. Now we're going to look at his withers, and that's pretty muscular. Now we're going to look at his shoulders. That's pretty muscular too, but it still has a little bit of body fat on it. We're going to look at his ribs. Now you can still see kind of the outline of them, but they're not bulging with fat. So that's good. Now we're going to look at his loin, and that is pretty muscular and stiff. Now we're going to look at his tail head, and that has muscular and a little bit of body fat on it. So we are going to number him a 6. Thank you for watching.
We're your neighborhood source for everything you need from your farm to your home.
At Harper Sales and Service, a division of Harper Landscaping, we can cater to all your mowing needs. Whether you need to start out with a beginner series for those smaller lawns, you can work your way all the way up to a 0 turn and even get into those bigger areas where you might have an acre or 2 or more.
My animals depend on me, and I depend on Harper Equipment Sales and Services to keep me running. From my weed eater to my tractor, they can fix it all.
When you look for Harper Landscaping, it's no sweat.